Saturday was an interesting day, to say the least. It was, we started out the way, actually kind of what I thought. We did the things that we had practiced on doing. We wanted to rush the football. We did that. I think we ran for 5 yards a carry, close to 200 yards rushing, something like that, whatever it was. And then we wanted to get the sacks and the turnovers, and we started doing that in the opening series. What turned the football game was the series of the blocked punt, and then we're going to go in and score, and then they scored with it on the fumble. So there was a swing of what I would say 21, 22 points without the defense even getting on the football field, because you double the points. We're going in for 7 and we lost 7. So there's a 14-point swing right there. So that really got them back in the football game, and then it was kind of back and forth throughout. But we're just getting in our own way, and that's what we have to finalize. We did some very good things, but at the same time we got in our way, and that's why we got beat. So any questions?
South Dakota State, they really kind of emphasized the ground game early on here, yet they're not passing it as well as they did maybe a year ago. Are they just a different emphasis on offense?
I think there's a different emphasis. There's a different offensive coordinator. They're a little different what they do, but a lot of similar with their players. They've got a great running back, a very good offensive line. They're still in the same philosophy of, that power running back, but he's got great speed, and he's deceptive, and that's what all the teams are finding out. He's probably had a 50-plus yard run against every team he's played, and I think he leads the country in 90-yard runs, for crying out loud. He's hit some big ones because he does. He has great speed. Once he clears the initial line of scrimmage, he can outrun anybody.
So he's a lot different than from Manette, who was featured back a couple of years ago.
Yeah, he's got the same. He's Manette in the first 10 yards, but he's himself after in the next 90, because he's got breakaway speed. So that's but he has that same type of intensity when he runs every down. So he's your typical South Dakota State back, and they've got that very good offensive line. They're just very consistent year to year, and this year they got a good combination of players, and they don't beat themselves. They do a good job of keeping the turnovers limited and move the chains and play good defense.
Mark, are there 2 or 3 categories this year that didn't work out the way you hoped at this point that's preventing you from winning games?
Yeah, well, there's probably more than a few, but I'd say this: we knew we had some things that we weren't as strong at some positions. Just thought they would come around as we went through the season, and then we got a couple of those positions got hurt, and then that really changed some things what we were doing. So that probably has been the most problematic thing as you go to practice is who you're going to have that particular week, and that's kind of still what we're dealing with day to day right now. So it's part of football. It's just gone against us this year, so we've got to find a way, and that we didn't have the depth going in, I should say the experience, and then when we got nicked up a little bit, then it became a movement of players to try to find the right combination, and that's had to change a little bit week to week just because of what transpired in a game. Even in this game, I mean, we get everything going and we're healthy. We're 2 weeks back in and we lose 2-3 guys in the first couple series. So, you just got to keep changing, and it takes you out of some packages sometimes that you want to do on third down because you don't have the players to do it with right now.
Mark, with the postseason pretty much out the window now, how do you keep your team motivated? Keep them tanking in the rest of the season.
Oh, I don't. My concern isn't that. Right now it's just getting rhythm. Man, we can't get rhythm. Every time we do something right, we do something wrong, and we just got to get the rhythm, and that's what we're missing.
You've started 3 different combinations of defensive line. 4 lines. Is that part of that problem? Just not being able to find rhythm because you're constantly starting different people?
That could be it. I never thought of it that way, but yeah, there's a different combination on if you went through the starting lineups for the games that we played, it's probably a different one every week. Not because we're forced into that situation. So that might be some of it, but we also feel that we got to get. We're trying to keep them all, the ones that are in. They can't go the full time either. So we're trying to get them in the game without exceeding the limitations of what they have, maybe because they have a foot injury or an ankle injury. So we got to get through that. That's part of the game, and it's the chess match of the game, and that's what we're not staying at the level of play we need to when we make those changes.
Along those lines, and how important does a guy like Dan Eden become, because he's healthy and he's now getting in the field a lot more?
Well, I think Dan was he was the nice surprise from the game. Sam Tim went down very early in that football game, and then Dan came in and hit actually his first playing, and he did a very nice job. I thought he had he looked fast. He ran some things down to the field, and he's always been a solid player as far as mentally knowing what he's doing. So he fit everything, and now it's the communication part that he needs to fit in with. But other than that, I thought he played a very good football game, stepping on the field in that reserve role and becoming the starter that day.
How would you evaluate Sawyer, redshirt freshman, midway through his first campaign? His stats aren't bad, but you're not winning games. But how would you evaluate him as a freshman quarterback?
As an individual, I'd probably put him as that he's doing. He's above. How do I say this? He's beyond a freshman quarterback mentality and talent. But as far as the whole thing, like you said, in the caliber of a team, you make your difference by winning games, and that's what you got to pull off, and that comes with time too. So let's keep the expectations for him in the right mode, but at the same time, a quarterback needs to, when he really sets his legacy, is winning the games going down the stretch, and so he'll grow into that. It just hasn't happened for him yet.
Speaking of which, your final possession Saturday obviously didn't go anywhere near the way you would have hoped it. How much is that a rookie quarterback, or just the circumstance, or getting blitzed, or whatever?
Well, my answer would be circumstance right now. He's done very well for us. So we shouldn't have put him in that mode. We shouldn't have had to put a freshman quarterback in that situation to win that game. And that's the bottom line. And we should have been ahead by 21 at that time, instead of trying to come back, and then we're sitting on the 37-yard line with a minute left or whatever. So he could have been put in a lot better situation that was out of his control. When he was put in that situation, it didn't turn out the way we'd hoped.
Is that just a tough but a valuable learning experience for a young quarterback?
The best way to learn is to play the game, and you learn quicker by failure more so sometimes than by success, and that'll be embedded in his memory for a long time to come. So he'll have many more opportunities like that with going down the stretch. But really, that's kind of separates quarterbacks, is that the last 2 minutes of any game is when you start to make your mark as a quarterback.
You said a minute ago that motivation is not down at the top of the list as far as worries. But can this team embrace the role of spoiler a little bit? You've got a chance to influence the race by beating South Dakota State and Illinois State, for instance, in the next 2 weeks.
This league is, I don't think you can get through this league undefeated, and that proved out with North Dakota State at Indiana State. They pulled a huge win. I think Illinois State's an exceptional football team. I think South Dakota State, everybody's underrating them just because they're just steady. They just grind you, and so some teams are flash, some teams are grind, and we need to get rhythm with our football team, and that's where we need to get. I'm gonna worry about us and let them figure out. We're just trying to win football games, and I got to get this team to line up and finish these games, because you go back and look at them, and you're tired of saying it. You had a chance to win every one of them, and you're sitting right now not getting any of them. So we need to push that. When we got momentum, keep momentum, and the momentum is a critical point right now. This is all about momentum. It's always been a game of momentum, and we don't have it. And every time we get it going, we get in our own way, and then the momentum swings. So that's what we're looking for, and that's what we'll emphasize.
With as tough as this league is, though, how surprised are you with the North Dakota States, Youngstown States, that it's South Dakota State that's the only unbeaten team in the league right now?
I can't say I'm surprised, just because, you know, the way South Dakota State plays is really how you win day in and day out. And that's with the running game. The way North Dakota State wins is with the running game. You know, if you really look at the teams that win consistently or always hanging around, is a rushing game. And that's what South Dakota State has always built them. And this is their year that they're really starting to, they've got good rhythm, they're catching momentum. They've had a nice schedule to build into the momentum they have, and they're sitting at a peak time right now going into the hard part of their schedule with momentum. So I think that's, you look at their schedule and their team, it's been designed and has really worked out well for them to be in a good position this time of year with momentum going into some tough places to play. So I think they got to come here in North Dakota State. So, you know, they're playing very well, but, you know, that's kind of philosophy he's always had there, is when, if he's around this time of year, he very well likely will be there at the end.
Mark, in retrospect, do you think playing Wisconsin and Iowa took too much out of you guys, either physically or emotionally? I mean, we know why you played, but looking back now, was it just too tough to ask a team to do that and continue on?
I think it was, looking back as of right now, I'd say you just needed a break in there. You needed a break either between them or right after it. To do them in that order was hard, because it was the second one that got us. The first one didn't. The second one got us for whatever reason, and that was the one that we've been a little bit struggling from, not because of anything that's in your control. It's more so that game, we still have guys that aren't at practice because of that game, and that's what's hard. We're playing some of them, but they don't practice all week long, so we can get them to the game. And again, you go back to the trying to get rhythm. You know, it's hard to do that with them out there. But I tell you what the upside of the whole thing is, you watch them play, you watch them. They're very resilient with what they've done. It's just that they just haven't. They're resilient. They're competitive. They grind. But we just aren't making the play at that critical moment. I mean, we had a fumble at Southern Illinois to win the game. I would say to win the game now. They threw that lateral pass. I think we were up at the time, and they threw the lateral pass. It was fumbled. It was laying on the ground, and we were running at the ball, and the guy that was right beside the ball got hit and knocked his shoulder out, and actually went down like he got hit by a sniper. I mean, that shoulder went out right there, and he dropped, and he laid right beside the football, and he didn't even know he was beside the football. And that's the break that we're not getting right now, because that was a break that laid right there beside us that we have to find a way to get. So, you know, that's kind of where we're at, but they're grinding and they're resilient. I'll give them that. You know, we just got to gut it up and finalize this.
Your teams have always gotten better as the season goes on. You're really great teams. Is there a sense now that maybe you played your best football against Wisconsin and Iowa and haven't been able to get back to that level? Is that what you're saying here a little bit?
Well, we haven't played like that. We haven't played that level. I think we haven't played our best football, is what I'm saying, is we have not played our best football, including those two football games. And had we played our best football game, I thought we were catching rhythm down in Southern Illinois when we were 21-6 or whatever it was, and man, we were starting to, you know, we were getting 6-8 yards a carry. You know, the field possession, everything was unfolding, and we were starting to get some rhythm. And then that doggone block punt, you know, kind of swung it, and then we go right back down, drive the field, and I could say almost at will, and get right to the end zone on a 2nd and goal, and then fumble the ball, and they go 100 yards the other direction. So those are the things where I say we're getting in our way, and then because we were playing good football then. So we have not played our best football game yet, by far, not even close.
With those fumbles, looking back at it on film, were they stripping Carlos and David? Were they reaching for extra yards? Did they pick something up with the way they were carrying the ball?
I don't know if they picked anything up. I just think that they, you know, the first time they took it from David, we didn't get a cutoff block on the backside, and then the other time, you know, he was going into the end zone. You can't really see the second one on film what actually happened. You just see the ball spit out. The guy standing in the back of the end zone watching the play picks it up and goes 105 yards the other direction. So it was just one of those things, you can't even see what's going on, and the ball rolls out. There's whatever, 20 guys in one spot, and the one guy standing 5 yards back is the one that picks it up, because that's the only one that saw it come out. So, but that's what we got to get through. It's part of the game, and it's part of the grind, and it's part of my job to get the thing fixed, and we'll fix it.
Coach, is your biggest concern, looking at your defense through 6 games now, is your biggest concern defensively been the inability to get off the field on 3rd down defensively?
Well, we were 5 for 15 on 3rd down this last game. That's a winning performance. The 2 that we didn't get off the field on were in the last drive. One was a 3rd and 9, was a 3rd and 8. And those are the ones that you remember. So we were getting off the field on 3rd down. That's why we were doing what we were doing. On that particular drive, we should have gotten off the field, and we didn't. And so yeah, that's part of the problem, but it's not the whole problem. But yeah, there's been instances of that, yes. Anybody else? All right, thanks.